Hello everyone. Welcome to the course on Essential of Object-Oriented Design and Programming. In this presentation, we are going to discuss virtual function and pure virtual function in C++. So what is a virtual function? Virtual function is a number function in the base class, which is overridden in the derived class, and which tell the compiler to perform late binding on this function. Here the virtual keyword is used to make the member function of the base class as a virtual function. It will support runtime polymorphism, that is dynamic binding. This means the function call is resolved at runtime based on the type of object being pointed to, not type of pointer. The syntax base class here, and the next here the public is the access specifier. Here void show is a normal function. In prefix, if you are adding the virtual keyword, the function become the virtual functions. Then within the brace, then we can implement any code here. So here the difference between non-virtual function and virtual functions. How it will invoke the normal virtual function, how it will work in the virtual functions. For example, class base, where we are going to define the function void show. The same function is redefined in the derived class. For example, class derived, then inherit the property from the base class. Again, the same function is redefined in the derived class. In the main functions, here we are creating the pointer variable from the base class, and the object is created from the derived class. Now the pointer variable which hold address of the another object. Now the pointer is pointing to the show. So what will happen here? Automatically it will give the priority in the base class because the same function is defined both base class and derived class. The compiler it will get conflicts it, then it will automatically execute only the base class function. So the result is base class. If you want to print the derived class message in the derived functions, so here we are going to make it the base class function as a virtual function. How we are going to make the base class function as a virtual function here? We'll discuss now. So now again the same code here. So now instead of writing only the void show, in prefix we are adding the new keyword virtual. Now automatically the base class functions become the virtual function and the derived class function is a normal function. So here see the same function is redefined both base class and derived class. But so in the prefix we are adding the virtual keyword. So now the base class function become virtual function and derived class is a normal function. Now derived class which will override the base class function. So now the pointer variable is created from the base class, derived object is created from the derived class. Now the pointer variable for address of the another object. Now again b dot show. Automatically what will happen? The derived class function override the base class function. So what is the result now? It will print derived class. Then another example. For example, the base class has two functions. One is a vegetable, is a normal functions, and next one is a fruit, is a virtual functions. Again, the derived class, which will inherit the property from the base class, it also has two functions. One is a vegetable, and next one is a fruit. Again, the class is closed. So now the object is created. Now the object is created from the derived class. The pointer variable is created from the base class. The base class pointer hold address of the another object. So now b dot vegetable. So that case what will happen? Here also vegetable is there. In derived class also vegetable is there. So now compiler it will get conflicted. Now automatically the compiler it will execute the base class functions. So now the result is base vegetables. Again control is comes to main function. The next statement is b dot fruits. So now what will happen? Automatically the control is go to here. So now already the base class function is become the virtual function, and then here the derived class has a function. Now the derived class function override the base class function. So what is the result now? Derived fruits here. Actually here previously we used only the dot operator. Here we are using this operator. While using the pointer variable, we are using the operator, then we are going to access the function here. And next one is a override concept. The derived class provide a new implementation for a virtual function that is already defined in the base class. When a function in the base class is declared as a virtual, the derived class can override it using the same function name and the parameters. This is used in the runtime polymorphism. Just to remember some of the function point, the function name must be same in the both classes. It means both base class and the subclasses. Parameters must be the same. Base class function should be the virtual. Override keyword improve the code safety. Some of the example here. For example, class name is shape. So now here we are defining one virtual functions. Again the class rectangle which will indicate the property from shape. So here there are two local variables declared here, and then here one of the constructor which will assign the value to the variable. And next one is we are using the same function that is already void area which will already defined in the super class, that is the base class, right? The same function is redefined here. We are writing on new word that is override. Here we are going to calculate the area of rectangle. Here we are at the same time we are going to display the class is closed. So now the pointer variable created from the shape class and an object is created from the rectangle class. At the same time we are passing the value. Automatically the value is assigned to length and breadth here. So now the pointer variable which hold address of the object. Now the pointer is pointing the area. So automatically the compiler it will execute only the derived class function. It means the derived class function override the base class functions. Even though the name is same, the signature is same. So finally the result will be printed here. And next one is the pure virtual function. The pure virtual function are the virtual function with no definition. They start with virtual keyword and end with 0. The pure virtual function is declared in the base class with 0. It will make the class abstract. It means we can't create the object from the abstract class. And also the pure virtual function must be defined outside of the class definition. It's optional. The next one is a pointer or reference of the base class type can point to derived class object. What are the characteristics of the pure virtual function? It must be overridden by derived classes to create a concrete objects. Class with at least one pure virtual function is an abstract class. It has by implementation in the base class, but still must be overridden. For example, class shape, and then we are declaring the object that is a pure virtual function. So for example, virtual return type function name equals 0. So automatically the function declaration is become the pure virtual functions because the virtual keyword is there and the class is closed. The same function is used in the derived classes. For example, one derived class name is rectangle. You get the property from the shape. Here there are two variables declared length and width here, and then the same function we are using here void area, and then we are using the override. So here we are calculating the rectangle, then close it. And next one is the one more new derived class circle, which is indicate the property from shape. Here I am declaring the one variable radius. Then we are calculating the area of the circle using the formula. So now class is closed. So now here the pointer variable is created from the shape, and then one more object that is a R is created from the rectangle, and then one more object C is created from the circle. So now the S1 hold address of R. It means the pointer, it will point to the rectangle object. So now S1 dot area means what? Automatically the control is come to here. So the rectangle, the function override the superclass. So now it will execute here, it will print the rectangle area. Again control is come to main function. The pointer is point to the circle object, address of the circle object. Now S1 dot area mean the control is come to here because the pointer hold the address of the circle object, right? S1 dot area mean automatically the control is come to here. The circle functions which will override the save functions. So now it will execute here only, then it will print the circle area. So this is the way we are going to implement the pure virtual function. And next one is the pure virtual function is a virtual function that has no implementation the class declaration and is assigned to 0. It is used to make the class abstract and force to derived class to provide their own implementation. The pure virtual function definition is useful when all the child will have the certain common behavior to the implementer. So here the concept is the virtual function, that is a function is declared in the base class, the same function is defined the outside of the class. Again the same function we are used in the derived class. Okay, so now the pointer is created from the base class and the object is created from the derived class, the pointer which hold address of the object, and then p dot display. So here also display, here also display, right? Even though it is defined outside of the class or the derived class function, it will override the superclass function. So what is the result here? So once override I mean automatically, so the control here only, then it will print the derived class. Just remember some other point in the virtual functions. Declared using the virtual keyword, it is used to achieve runtime polymorphism. It will support dynamic binding, that is late binding, and called through the base class pointer or reference, can have definition in the base class. Overriding the derived class is the optional. Class with the virtual function is called polymorphic class. Constructor cannot be virtual. The destructor can and should be virtual in the polymorphic base classes. Some of the points just remembering in the pure virtual function. Here declared by assigning 0, it is used to achieve the abstraction, forces derived class to provide the implementation. A class containing at least one pure virtual functions become the abstract class. So here it's not possible to create the object from the abstract class. So the pure virtual function may have defined outside of the class also. Thank you.